Mikey and his magic middies. Will they get you over the line this season? Will Jake have Tedesco this week? Maxie, the consistent keeper. Ryan Hadley, Australia's next test fast bowler. Timmy, the 2020 SuperCoach champion. And Savs, the Newcastle. Tommy Turbo tragic.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
All right. Here we go.
You're now listening to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience Sunday Wrap. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Jamin Salmons. Jamin Salmons really stood up on Friday night against Rookies Week Gutted Dogs, and I'm here to dissect that game just in general by itself. I'm here joined by Maxie, first of all, the regular Sunday night host. How are you, Maxie?
Fantastic. It's great to be back podding with you two legends. And oh my God, what a round of footy. We were really sport for choice on this one.
Footy just gets better and better every week, doesn't it? I'm also joined by the 2021 champion, which we haven't addressed it. I think we've got to make a public apology, but it says you're the 2020 champion in our intro.
Went back to back officially.
Yeah, so that's not actually my fault. It's actually the guy who did it. And because it's like I paid for it on a program that was like, you got to pay for reviews, I was just like, fuck it. Let's just leave it.
Yeah,
to me,
I don't like it. It annoys me. And there is another 2020. I'm sure there's the 2020 champ Joe probably finds it annoying too. You know, be special fan of the show. But look, another thing we should address is, did Savs have Tommy Turbo this week?
I did. Of course I
did. Did you have Tedesco?
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. But Timmy, it's my first podcast with you. How's the off season and how's your season going?
Yeah, it's not too shabby, man. Look, it could be a lot better. There's too many sub 40s and sub 50s in my score this week, but it wasn't much of a moving week, and I'm hoping I can hold the rank of around sort of 3,000, and that'll be all right. Maxie,
how'd you go this week?
Yeah, quite well. Scored a 13-12. It's probably around par this week, and we'll probably get into that a bit later. But I mean, my transfers were quite good. I brought in Nico Hines for Adam Dewey, which is a decent move. I was kind of concerned about whether I go Garrick, but I think that was obviously the right option to go. And I ended up going Cam Murray down to Jackson Ford, which after Josh Curran's performance today looks a bit so-so, but I think that was kind of the right decision. So looking all right. Hopefully get some green arrows, and that gives me a certain pot of money to go forward with some new trades, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the show.
Well, myself scored 1284, and as you say, transfers. It's weird how you say transfers. I've never heard anyone say that.
I've been in England for a while, man. They talk a different language over there, man.
That's the way they talk about fantasy Premier League over here. So I'm maybe it's the jet lag. I've just flew in on Friday, so maybe it's the change. But yeah, the transfers.
You sound like you're from London.
Well, my transfers this week were Cameron Murray, AJ Brimson, and Nick Meaney to Zach Hosking, Cameron Munster, and James Tedesco. You did mention Tedesco before. I don't regret it. I think it was a good move. He was looking on, and HIAs, you can't really predict them. So I'm pretty happy with the move. Did I have to do the move? No. I don't know. It is what it is. I scored 1284, and I feel like I'm just a tad below par. And considering I had Tedesco, I'll take it. Going forward, don't know what I'm going to do. I'll reassess. Have tomorrow off SuperCoach, as you always do, Timmy. And I'll reassess on Tuesday. How'd you go, Timmy? And any pressing issues in your side?
Pre-final updates, 1306. My transfers for the week were...
I'm not going to hear the end of that, am I?
I went Dury to Hosking, so I'm happy with that because Dury, done his job for me now. Hosking, I'm really hoping he can hold that spot down after 2 solid performances. Ivan would be mad not to give the bloke every opportunity. So look, I'm pretty happy with the way that's panned out. We'll see what happens comes TLT. My other transfer was pretty much meant to be, but didn't work out as much as I would have liked it to be. I've got $0 after my 2 trades. So when I made them happen, I was like, whoa, this is perfect. But yeah, I went Mully Tulangi, who is injured, obviously, to Cobbo. Really like the 3-game draw of the Broncos. He only scored 45 points, but I'm hoping he can get me a couple of 80s or closer to tons in the next 2 games. And then I'll probably move him on once the draw gets a little tougher. Yeah, pressing issues. I've got Frank Compelle, my gun prop. He's just fractured his arm in that last game. So that's not good news. I'm thinking I'll probably just leave him there as a guy that I can use to do looping. I don't think it's worth the trade to a guy like a Team Silva's brother. But yeah, look, other pressing issues. Dewey in my side, he's got to go. He's dropping cash. The Tigers looking woeful, and he's just, I'd prefer him to be at 5'8". I really thought he'd be not lose too much out by being at fullback, but yeah, it's just not getting his hands on the ball as much. And yeah, I don't know what to do with that because, as I said, I've got $0 in the bank, so I'm really going to have to free up some cash if I want to go up to Dylan Brown and Munster. Yeah, I've got no idea what I'm doing yet. So headaches.
Have no idea what you're doing. I haven't heard that one before.
I didn't mean that. I was just, pun not intended.
So Adam Dewey's a weird one because he's always been in that struggling Tigers side, but playing at 5'8", I think fullback and 5'8" are so different, and he just dominates at 5'8". Fullback is, I don't know, he should see more ball, which I don't understand, but I think he's just so used to that 5'8" position. I don't know what it is, but fullback is not his position. I think they've got a ready-made fullback in Dane Laurie sitting on the bench. I think he's good enough. So, yeah, I guess Tigers, they're looking like they're a pretty easy matchup coming up, Maxi.
Yeah, they are. And I think the thing about Dewey is I don't think the Tigers, when the Tigers were struggling in previous years, they were always able to put on points. And I think that's the key difference that it appears to be. Like, I know Broncos are very good defensively, but I don't know. It just seems like, the points aren't going to come as easily for them.
It's weird because they've got Benji Marshall there and Tim Sheens who have pretty much sort of gone under the mentality of let's play some attacking footy. It's just not happening for him.
Is he outdated, Timmy Sheens?
Oh, can't say that too early. You got to have some respect for the bloke. He's done some great things in the game. Ex-Panther, obviously, so much love for him.
Yeah, but, there's a lot of old blokes who used to be good at certain things like rugby league. If they came back to rugby league, they couldn't do exactly what they did before.
Yeah, but it's because of their body's old, bro. What are you talking about? Like, are you talking about playing rugby league or are you talking about coaching?
Yeah, but the body deteriorating is exactly the same as the mind deteriorating. Like, he's old enough that his mind is fried. It's absolutely fried.
It's also
respect to our older
viewers. Yeah, it's also the game's changed a lot.
Yeah,
and the level of coaching that succeeded back in the day is completely different to what's going on now. And you look at all the young coaches that are coming in and doing really, really, really well. It's just a testament
Like
to kind
that
of
Wayne
the
Bennett
new age
bloke?
of.
Yeah,
Well, Wayne's adapted to the times pretty well though in terms of what he plays.
I think he has. With Wayne Bennett, I was just about to mention him. He is someone who I kind of saw losing grip of the game at one point. Like, I think leading into the season where Anthony Seibold took over the Rabbitohs and he went to the Broncos, I thought at that point he was just losing grip just a touch. But obviously in the last few years, he hasn't lost grip at all. Like, he's still got it. But that being said, how much is he actually doing? Like, he's probably just the people manager and he just knows exactly what he needs to do, right?
Oh, he's rallying them, man. He's making them believe in the jersey. He's making them, what he would say to them just in a few words would be immeasurable compared to what I reckon any other coach could do. Like, imagine sitting in a shed with him. Wow. It'd be crazy.
Yeah. I reckon the PowerPoint presentations of an Anthony Seibold would do also really well in the Dolphins.
Well, Anthony Seibold, he is absolutely flying at the moment with Manly. I guess we'll get to them though. But firstly, guys, we had a massive weekend. The weekend just gone with Picklebet. A lot of you are signing up with the code, and that's just it. Just helps us out so much. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure when you're gambling, the chances are you're about to lose. So for free confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblingonline.org.au. Use the code TURBO when signing up with the affiliate code. I think we can make an announcement now. Timmy?
Sure, let's hit it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
So starting the 18th of February, me and Timmy we'll be recording every Tuesday in Picklebet Studios live. How's that? How does that sound?
18th of February.
18th of April, sorry. So had a meeting with them. They really like our stuff and got talking with little like short game content and things like that. I floated the idea with them. Oh, we do live streams every Tuesday, and they're looking at getting into live streams, and they were stoked, and they love the idea of our show being recorded in their studios. It's not only going to be me and Timmy. It's going to be whenever the other guys can come in as well, but Timmy and I are the ones that are committing for now, and then we'll see how that goes out. And, yeah, super pumped, guys. I think it's going to take the show into a direction where we've wanted to take it for a long time, and the fact that you guys are still signing up and still supporting us to this day with the other bookie that was our sponsor as well. Just thank you so much, guys.
We don't mention them anymore.
Yeah, we don't mention them anymore. Although other people...
They still sponsor the Viliami still, so much love to that other sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, guys. We'll be recording there April 18th to start every Tuesday, and new format of the show. It's going to be very exciting. So get behind us and hopefully your SuperCoach side isn't out of contention before then, because we want everyone to still be engaged when we go there. So I'm a bit worried that we haven't started early enough, but it'll be like round 7 or 8. That's still pretty good. Like if you're still in the top 30,000 before the buys, you're sitting pretty well. So cheers, guys, for that. Moving on, let's start the first game, the Sydney Roosters versus the Parramatta Eels. I think the big topic of this game, James Tedesco. Timmy, I mean, he's got a pretty tough draw coming up, Melbourne and Penrith, but he will miss the Melbourne game next week. I bought him in last week. I mean, when he comes back, he'll be playing Penrith. He's a potential sell for just a couple of games and then buying him back in when...
The only reason you probably could hold him is because you don't have Nico, right? And a lot of people are going to have that 900K of Nico on their bench next week. So that will balance out for you a little bit. But my first instinct would be just punt him for, and bring him back when it feels right. I just a matter of who you're going to go to, though. I think it could be a good opportunity for you to bring Garrick into your side. You could bring him down to fullback. And then once you know what sort of fullback you do want to run with as your second one to pair Tommy, you can just move Garrick back up to the centre wing. So I think that's probably a good option for you.
Maxi?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a wealth of options in that position. I'm thinking, Garrick's a great option. Even in a game where kind of much didn't happen down his edge, he still, came back with a very, very solid score. Obviously, there's Reece Walsh, who's got the Raiders and then the Titans in the next two, which could be a nice little 2-week position. Yes, he's going to be a little bit expensive, but he could be someone that's going to make you 100K while you bring him in. So, I mean, objectively though, it's a, we talked about this long before the move was actually made, and you were kind of zigging when everyone was zagging, and objectively it was a really, really good solid pick. So I back you on that one.
He looked so good in the first bit before he copped that whack, man. I was really worried. I was like, geez, Savs just nailed this.
Yeah, but then Mikey was pretty quiet in the chat before the HIA because he was absolutely killing it. And then
pretty vocal afterwards, wasn't he?
Yeah, pretty vocal afterwards. He's like that. Watch him. He'll be on the podcast this week because he's doing well and he's ranked above all of us still. Like, I think he's scored more than most of us. Yeah, well, on the other side of the park, someone I'm considering trading in as a stepping stone to Nico, Mitch Moses has the Tigers and the Bulldogs in the next 2 weeks. Hines has the bye, and then leading into the Roosters, I think Moses to Hines the week after the Roosters matchup is going to be my play. Timmy, you got Moses in for the Tigers matchup in the bye last year. I know it's random. I know it's random as fuck, but I'm playing it. I'm playing on the edge this year, which I mean, last year I was pretty vanilla. But what do you thought?
I don't think it's that random, because he always goes on a little run, and that might be just this little run. The Tigers, his ex-club, it's a Monday game, which is a weird thing next week. Yeah, Monday night game, I've just noticed, but it's at 4:00. Oh, so it's Easter. Okay, so that's why.
Yeah.
And then the week after, you've at CommBank Stadium against the Dogs, and the Dogs are looking all right, but they've copped a few hits today.
Pele.
Maxi King copped a pretty savage eye injury. He'll probably be back in 2 weeks. So he'll probably be back next week. He came back and played the second half, but gee whiz, that eye could look like anything tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And even Preston, dislocated finger.
Yeah, I think he ripped the webbing of his finger, they said, as well, and had to stitch that up. So that would be, imagine that, man. The webbing of your finger seems like the most awkward thing to mess around with. Yeah,
nice. Maxi, Daniel Tupou and Jackson Paulo top scored for this game, 94 and 87. Obviously popular options during the start of the season. But Jackson Paulo's kind of come out of nowhere. He's come off 2 90s in a row, 91, 101, and this game 87, with a break even of negative 32, 34. Wow. Who would have picked that?
Can I throw something out there? What if Suolihi goes to fullback next week, which I think they might give it to him, and Manu back to centres just on a return game? We know what Manu's like. He's a little bit more glue hands and takes his own opportunity. So maybe it might not work out as well for Paulo. But, I mean, if people are keen on him, I couldn't talk him off from after 2 90s. He just doesn't seem like the player that I'd be confident chucking into my side when there's so many other good ones going around.
Oh, he's too much now, isn't he, Maxi?
He's going to be too much. And it's a bit risky. He started at quite a high price too. And I mean, on a personal level, after, obviously, being ousted from South, it's great to see him playing so well. But I just think it's, the rate at which he's scoring isn't going to, be sustainable for the long term. I'd much rather go with someone like a Daniel Tupou who, has that stronger base. And potentially is going to be, as a proven keeper. I think Jackson Paulo's, if you got him in draft or you started it with him as a pod, ride the wave and cash him out. But I don't think he's an option to bring in at this stage.
Timmy, Dylan Brown on the other side of the park. 50 points. I guess the last few weeks they have had a tougher matchup, but coming into a bit of an easier matchup, looks like he will lose a bit of cash, probably about 40K. So that takes him down to 730.
It's a lot of a jump from Dewey for me, but yeah, I do like him.
He's going to be a popular purchase because he plays all 3 major bye rounds. Is this the week to jump on potentially?
I think it might be. I think it was, I can't remember who it was from the Eels, but they said, he's pretty much only scratching the surface of what he can do and what so that's all when I hear that comment. I'm like, yeah, well, he's been playing all right. The last 2 games were a little bit quiet, but 50 she'll take them. I mean, he was looking like he was going to score 20 for a bit until he had a late try assist there. But I like him, man. I think once the matchup opens up draw opens up for him and the matchup's a bit easier, his steps, killer, and he just got a great running game. So I think I would prefer him than Munster, especially considering the origin bye scenario thing.
Maxi, I want to go to you for this one. It's a bit of a controversial. It's not controversial. It's a question everybody is asking. And I don't know if you already know what I'm going to ask. Hopgood. Is he hop gone?
No.
It's
just it's a case of managing his minutes. I mean, we always kind of knew it was going to happen in the first 2 rounds. It's not sustainable for him to play, at his rate, 75-ish minutes. He's going to have rounds where he plays more, and he's going to have rounds where he plays less. But I still think he's a great option. I also think, Madison being back and in the form means they don't necessarily need to play him, that many minutes. And I think also, I don't know where the offloads potentially have. I doesn't think like he's letting the offload go as much as he was in the first couple of weeks. So maybe they've asked him just to kind of play safe for now. I don't think he's hop god, but I don't think he's hop gone. I think he's a staple player in your 17 every week.
He's exactly what his name is, hop good.
Hop good. Exactly. Exactly, Timmy. Yeah, exactly.
We're reading too much into it and trying to change his name. His name is exactly perfect. Hopgood, 62 minutes in the middle is honestly, that's a great effort. Like if you've got a 62-minute playing in the middle, you're pretty happy with that most of the time. One offload on the weekend when he's been busting out like 5 or 6. I think he's a bit scarred from that offload the other week against Manly, was it? Where
I did have one that was a bit,
where Olakuatu kind of came, but he came out and scored 77 last week. So I just think that's how it's going to be. Like 47, that's really his floor, right?
Yeah,
I'd say so.
Yeah, and you've got other forwards like similar to him, like your Eli Katoas. I know they're not your similar kind of players, but you got a number of base, second row forwards who have that kind of 45-ish base that can go up to 70s, 80s, 90s, and Hopgood, Katoa. 1 week, one of them's going to go. The next week, the other's going to go. So just keep them in your 17s, especially at the price you got them. Bigger fish to fry in all your SuperCoach sides.
Yeah, the buy round thing for me is just another reason I'd really want to hold on to him. The thing is, though, he's a good chance if the bloke keeps it up, he's going to play Origin.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance he plays Origin for sure. I saw a quote from somebody saying that Billy's going to give him a call. Maybe that was for Reece Walsh this week, but they've definitely got their eye on him, and he's 100%.
Well, I think he's doing better than what Cotter was offering up last year, and Cotter was amazing. He just looks like a real gritty boy.
Very similar players. All right, moving on to the next game, 6:00 Friday, the Week Got a Dog Cup. Week Got a Dog came out and scored 49 at 264K. Maybe if I'm no. I'm just saying if I'm at the pointy end at the end of the season, maybe it's kind of something I got to do like you did.
Yeah, for Viliami, you got to get your spiritual leader in your side.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh. Yeah.
100%. It's like me with Brad Parker.
Have you ever owned Brad Parker?
I think there was a round where I was going to, but it was like potential for me to get in the top 1,000, so I didn't.
Oh God!
But I was seriously being like considering it. Anyway, it's always good. You love watching these players when you bring them in your side, but I think it's also now we're in all these pod seeded leagues and cash leagues and stuff. We can't really take the piss. We've got to actually play it quite seriously.
You can if it's not going to hurt you. Maybe at one point in the season.
If you were just trying to free up cash or something like that and not play him and just leave him there, like I pretty much did that with Kick the other year at one. I was like, I'm probably not going to play him too much because he was a bit of a joke prior to 21.
He ended up
sort of like,
he ended up
doing it. And now he's become last year he was super relevant, and this year, fallen off a little bit at the doggies. But I'm sure there'll be a time where he picks it up again this year.
Yeah.
But the thing is with the week at a dog, I mean, there was a lot of Penrith players to come back. We're worrying about how much people are saying will Hosking be able to get minutes and stuff. So if all of those people, Liam Martin, you got Sorensen, there's a lot of second rowers for the.
Yeah.
So look, I probably wouldn't encourage you to do it, but unless you want to get spiritual and bring him in, maybe.
Top scorer, Isaac Tago, 142, Timmy. SuperCoach option at all, or?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
I think he is, man. He's got a great, he's got that base in him. Like, he was good for us, I think it was last year. It was just only last year that he was a cheapie for us, and people were thinking, we could almost hold on to him and keep him. It's sort of, there was more upside in a lot of other players, but, geez, he looked electric. I know they're not going to play Canberra every weekend, but he was looking very, very good.
He scored. He had 3 try assists, 2 tries. That's ridiculous.
And they were genuine too. They weren't just like he made it happen.
Yeah, 19 points in tackles, 18 points in hit ups, and then tackle busts, 8 points. So looking at about he's 575. He's going to go back up. So.
Awkward, yeah. I wouldn't be grabbing him at that price. Hey, if you had him, you'd be cheering, but
I don't think the base is that good. That's his absolute ceiling, in my opinion, and we won't see that again from him this season. Yeah. I'll guarantee that. But the Prince of Penrith is back, 124. You looped, Timmy.
Yeah, it probably worked out best for me if I haven't done the maths properly yet, but I left out Alamotti, who I think scored just a 40-ish sort of score, and then 40 for Alamotti, and Pele 32. So Pele was my AE, so 8-point variance there, and I would have, I probably made up about 11 or 12 points. But I was playing the conservative option. I thought I was probably going to lose out more likely than not, but I didn't want to put myself in a disaster scenario when the points were already there.
1,000 people sold Cleary this week, Maxi. What do you say to them?
I'd say that there's, like big kahunas for taking that move, and obviously if helped you to get up funds and maybe got you to Hines. But there's just certain people where once you bring them in, you don't transfer them out unless there's an injury or significant period of rest. And Nathan Cleary is one of them. And we knew it would happen eventually. The Panthers took a bit longer. They've had obviously a lot of moves, and as we would say, transfers out, and it was always going to be a bit of time before they clicked into gear. But we knew just he's an absolute master, and he's going to click into gear eventually. And this game, it was like the Hines from last week. He looked just electric. In any other week, it could have been more points. Unfortunate to those ones, but get him in as soon as you can. That's what I'd say.
Moving on to Zach Hosking, 80 points, a try. There was another try that happened about 10 minutes before that he really could have scored as well. So very close. Like if he dived just a bit earlier or he kept running the same line.
I think if he didn't hit and spin and just kept running and put his head down, he was there. Yeah,
so he's looking like running off Cleary, that base, like 23 tackles, 8 points in tackle busts, so that's 31, 4 points in offloads, and then 20 points in runs. His base is pretty solid. Hosking, if him and Martin and Garner are named, Garner on the bench, what are our thoughts on Hosking? I'll start with you, Maxi.
If Garner's on the bench, I would say it's tough. I'd say you'd kind of still bring him in. I'm thinking the talent there and the fact that he slots into that side. There's no ways really around it. He's performed at a much higher level than Garner in that side. You'd think he gets at least 60-ish. And I think that's probably enough. He looks to be, when they're going down his side, they look to really be trying to bring him in. And as you said, he could have had 2 tries. I mean, it was a ridiculously good tackle that helped him get short for that first one. But he just looks so good, and I'm thinking you probably do bring him in. It's kind of one of those ones where he's at an awkward price though, and it's like if you've traded out Garner to him, like I'll probably end up doing. It's not one you really want to play around with, but I think on balance, because the upside is so high with someone like him, I think you bring him in.
Timmy, you got in Hosking last week as well. What was the reasoning behind that? And are you any more?
Oh, this week.
Yeah. Sorry. Are you any more sure or unsure on him?
No, really confident in him. I think the combination that he has with Nath looks like he really likes him there, and I reckon he'd be in Dad's ear saying that's the way we're going, and I think Ivan will agree. Just the way they work together, he's a weapon. Garner's like, I just feel like they bought him on an opportunity, but I just don't think that they could refuse what Hosky's doing. Like, how do you say, all right, thanks for your efforts for the last 2 weeks and put him back? I don't think they could do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's right for them to go back to Garner. I think Garner in their side, I see the potential and how it could work, but I think everything has to align for it to happen. I think Hosking just fits in nicely with them. I think they kind of have to play around Garner, and kind of their style of play has to have certain plays for Garner to fit in nicely, because he's a hole runner, and Luai's the kind of guy who it's either early ball or
ducks back in.
He's ducking back in and running around you. So maybe Garner's probably would work better on the right side with Cleary anyway. But I think the fact that Hosking's been given that opportunity first, Garner looks like he's out, and Liam Martin potentially comes back to the left. And I think that'll work for Liam Martin as well, the early ball. He's very damaging runner. Or they put Liam Martin in the middle, because James Fisher-Harris is he's out for a few weeks, and they've got shortage on the middle. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But because of that middle shortage, Lindsay Smith, 61 at 240,000. Jake,
he played very well.
Yeah, I noticed him a lot because I kept thinking he was Zach Hosking.
So did I.
Yeah. He's actually Jake's mate. Had a try assist, played 35 minutes. So thoughts on Lindsay Smith? That was his first game, so obviously we don't want to pull the trigger too early, but he's a potential front row forward cheapie.
Yeah, if you can get more time in the team, I mean, he could be a good option for like a Pele to him. But I just don't think when the team's like at full strength, he's going to get enough game time or even be named to start. I think he's like their sort of backup guy. So,
yep. Maxi on the other side of the park, Joe Tarpanay, 61 in his 200th game. He's been quite underwhelming, but still punch out at 61, which is quite nice. Is he someone that you would consider targeting in the near future? I know there's Utakamanu, who's going to be out next week with the Tigers bye. It's a potential swap.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm a Tarpanay owner, and obviously we had the discussion about whether I go with him, Tohu, or Payne Haas. I think, if you're going to target one of the front rows, I know buys can be a little bit of an issue, but I still think just with the way that Payne Haas is playing, I think you probably go him. I'm happy with the Tarpanay trade because from a buy perspective, and I know, when hopefully the Raiders click into some better form, his minutes will go up. I think it was also the game was kind of done at the point where Tarpanay was back on, and perhaps if it was in the balance, Ricky would have brought him on for his second stint a little bit earlier. But I mean, I don't think you're going wrong. There's not that many options in the front row position. And the fact that he's still punching out 61 in, I think, about 50 minutes, which is well below what we think we're going to get from him. I think he's fine.
The attack isn't there either. I was talking to Mikey about Payne Haas, and Payne Haas is definitely the best prop in the game. But for SuperCoach, I don't know. When he's on, he's the best guy for SuperCoach. But I just get the vibe that because the Broncos, they're 5 from 5, they can like they did last week. They only played him 40 minutes. Yeah, he went off in that 40 minutes and scored like a great score. But, there was that try from dummy half. He's only probably going to score one more try from dummy half in his career, I reckon. But he'll probably score plenty close to the line, just putting him over. But
bro, that was such a David Fifita play, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
He's
nice.
He's honestly like he's the biggest guy that he's like what Taumalolo used to be. Like I actually think Taumalolo was better in his prime, just because he was a bit more agile and a bit more harder to read when he was running, but. Geez, Payne Haas, he's not far off, and he's a bigger guy, so it's like it might be more scary to face. We've got to come in.
I get the vibe he'll cop too many 60s just coming off early and not getting into people like, get him on. Whereas Tarpany probably he hasn't got the attacking stats yet, and he's already scoring 60s, so he's likely to go up.
Exactly. If that's the worst you're going to get, you'll take it every day of the week. Lyle Old said Sharks have the bye, not the Tigers. I was talking about that week after, sorry. I'm sorry about that. I guess moving on to the next game, the Rabbitohs versus Melbourne. This was a pretty close game, 18-10. There is one person I want to talk about in particular. Latrell Mitchell, 67 points, goes down to 700K this week, plays the Bulldogs and then the Dolphins in the next 2 weeks. Very, very tempting. But what are your thoughts on him, and how did you see the game? He looked very uninterested and very kind of, I wouldn't say unfit, but it just looks like he's coasting along and making less tackle breaks and just making less of an impact. So can you buy these type of players when then it doesn't look like they're in form? Maxie, I'll start with you.
I think with Latrell, we've got enough of a kind of base to know that he will click into gear eventually, similar to in Nathan's. I think, weirdly enough, with both of them going to Turbo and Latrell, they're both not into their full gears yet. Obviously, coming back from those injuries, and they've obviously both gone over and spent time with that physio in Philadelphia and stuff. So maybe that's a bit of a tactic there, as to warm into it. I think though that Latrell 67 in a game where you did not notice him really at all shows that
I noticed him because he was just not moving sometimes. Like he was just not interested, it looked like. So 67, Jesus.
They've basically played the top 5 teams that will be at the end of the top 5 by the end of the year. They've played the Sharks to start the year. Then they've gone up against Para. They've gone against the Roosters. And finally, Manly the week prior, and then the Storm this week. So they're all real contenders. The draw's going to open up, and when it does, I think he'll, play a lot more free footy as well.
Yeah,
so
I'd be looking too. I think.
Yeah, I'd be looking at him if I didn't have 2 guys I was happy with. I'm still happy with Teddy and Turbo and Walsh, and I might move Walsh on in a couple of weeks once that draw starts to get a bit harder for the Broncos, and flick it to someone like a Teddy or a Latrell, but I'm not going to go off too early and try plan too much. I just want to keep playing eyes up SuperCoach and sort of pretty much make week by week calls.
Maxie, I think on a similar kind of level, their draw opens up a little bit. They do have Penrith in a couple of weeks, but with the Bulldogs and the Dolphins coming up, I mean, we don't know what Dolphins are going to show up on the weekend. Like that, they're average, but they're decimated at the moment. I think it's going to happen where they kind of fall off defensively, especially later in the season. I don't know how much at this point in the season it's going to happen, but Alex Johnston is always the kind of guy that goes on a run. Is it too early? With 44 on the weekend, it looks like he's going to lose another 50K and take him down to 570K. he's always someone everybody jumps on at one point. Is very soon the time, or is it later in the season?
Oh, I mean, it's a toss of the coin. I have this kind of with AJ. I always tend to kind of think with him, it's too early to bring him in, and then next thing you know, he scores a couple of hundreds and he's out of really reach from a price range. Yeah. I think with someone like him, you get him. He's not going to go below 550. I'd like to say, like, it's very rare with his try scoring record. So I think it's more of a price thing. And I think Souths, they didn't look amazing on the weekend, on Friday night. Would I say it's too early? Probably yes, but I don't think it's a bad move. I think it's, you've kind of just got to wait and see where the Souths go, and you kind of, it's unpredictable with someone like him. Yes, the draw's going to get a little bit better for Souths, but he could easily score 3 tries, or he could not. It's really a toss of the coin with someone like him. But I think if you bring him in, you got to be prepared also to hold on to him for 3-4 games before he really clicks into that hat trick level of form that he always gets into.
His puppeteer's looking all right, Cody Walker.
Yeah, he's looking a bit better, isn't he?
Low price too. I just looked at him then. I'm thinking, geez, if I can't afford Munster, he's about the 5 something or other. He might go up a bit. Oh, not too much. His break-even was 43, scored 70-ish. He might be more achievable for me as much as I think I want Dylan Brown. I don't know if I can afford him, so I might have to look at someone like him.
560K, and he does play the first bye, so you don't really need to target Dylan Brown if you have to. Like, Dylan Brown does play 3 buys, but the fact that Cody Walker does play the first bye, it kind of allows you to pass if you're not 100% sold. But yeah, Cody Walker's at a nice price. It's the kind of time where stacking up the spine it's time to do it. Like, you got your Nicos and Cleary combos, but the 5'8", it's so tough. Like, which one is the best one? I think on the other side of the park, Munster with 76, I think he's probably the best one at the moment. But at the same time, he's not hurting you not having him. Like, 74 on the weekend, had a good game. Their run isn't great, and I think the good run he kind of missed out on already.
Yeah, I'm an owner, and it's tough because, he's not. Yeah, it's not like everything goes through him without Hughes being in the side. It's still very much a free-flowing team. Goes both sides, and he's kind of like one of those ones where when you bring him in. That's why when we both traded him in, he's kind of really a season hold. Unless Origin and injuries or restings and the sort, he just chips away, and it's unpredictable when he's going to get his hundreds. It's unpredictable when he's going to get his 40s, but ultimately he's going to be the best 5'8" in SuperCoach by season's end. But I think if you're going to bring in someone at the moment, I wouldn't really be looking at Munster with the Browns match up against the Tigers. I think it kind of sets up perfectly for you to come bring in Brown, VC or CM, and really profit off that. And you can always bring in Munster, at a later period.
That's it. One more before we move on. Campbell Graham, 656,000. Another 80 points on the weekend, and with a nice little draw coming up before the Penrith matchup in round 9. 650K, scores of 110, 34, 91, 41, 80. It looks like he's going up, down, up, down, up, down. Next week will be a down week, but who knows? What are your thoughts on Campbell Graham, Timmy?
I feel like he's more of a back end of the year kind of guy that you kind of get when you can, you as a fifth sort of.
I actually disagree. I think he's a more start of the year type of guy. Like, I think he's going to be the same at the end of the season, and these Alex Johnston guys are going to be the end of the season guys who dominate off.
I just think at the start of the year, you get 1 or 2 primo guys, and it's probably not him, and then the rest are cheapy. So that's why it's hard to start with him.
That's fair. Yeah.
Still, I mean, like he's got that incredible base.
Yeah.
As you say, he goes up, he goes down, but even when he goes down, it's a pretty decent base level. No origin unless Latrell or Turbo get injured, which is not out of the question. And he's just someone in the side which is stable. I mean, I've got him in our draft league, and he's just someone you put in your center wing and you just hold him there, and he's just going to chip away at it. So, I mean, in terms of center wings, I don't know whether he's someone you bring in at this stage. I kind of prefer even a To'o over him, given To'o, I think, just got 67 with not much going on. But you're not going to go wrong with someone like him.
Moving on to the next game, 3:00 Saturday, the best time slot of the week. This was a cracker game. Draw at Glen Willow, 32-all. Arguably, Manly weren't on at all. There were periods where they looked good. Tommy Turbo's top scored for Manly with 106, but dare I say, Maxi, he still looks in second gear.
Yeah, he does. He does. And it's weird that he's been doing a lot of runs on like fourth tackle, which brings him out of the kick chase for a fifth tackle set, which I think is a little bit weird. But yeah, he still looks like he's not really getting it flowing. And I mean, Manly looked off, but I think if this is a kind of one-off as opposed to a drop in form, I think Schuster is much more important than we perhaps thought in terms of making Manly's attack flow. And I mean, Cooper Johns, I mean, fair enough, he played well in the trials and obviously played well when he slotted in, but it's just a totally different game with Schuster on the park. So I think when Schuster comes back, it'll open up the attack a lot more. And Tommy can really get going, but I think it's going to be a case of, I don't think we'll see the 170s, 180s, the 3 try games for a while. I think he'll perform well, 90s to 130s and stuff like that, which is fantastic. But he's not looking like he's really clicked it into full gear yet.
Crazy Timmy, 103, 98 or 97, 58, and then 106. Like, he's absolutely flying SuperCoach wise this year, but it's just it's not their massive scores. Like, it just proves that even though he's in second gear and he's still pumping these out, the big scores are still going to come.
Yeah, they're coming for sure.
Do you think that he's kind of holding back a bit? Because with this Bill Knowles stuff, from what I heard, they didn't say it was the hamstring that was the issue. It was his running style. So I think he's being very cautious about it and not trying to
open up like he used to, sort of thing.
Yeah, he just always went 110% when he was playing. And you're not seeing that anymore. I think he's just being very mindful of it. And I think he's just going to try and get through the season.
Remember when he ran onto the field, though? We were sitting there watching the game together, and he looked intense, man. He sprinted onto the field like Dale Finucane. I was like, oh no, he's on.
Yeah. Timmy was over watching the game, and he came onto the field and sprinted on the field, and Timmy knew he was looping already, and he was like, shit. Like, he saw that. He was like, no. But, I mean, happy for the loopers, happy for the captainers. Like, it kind of worked out what he scored. Interesting one for KO Week's try. He didn't get a try contribution. What are your thoughts on that one, Timmy? Like, he probably didn't do enough. I'm pretty happy he didn't get anything. I can cop it, but how did you see that one?
I would have given him the 4 points. Yeah, but it's 4 points. You're not going to get too upset about that.
No, of course not. I was like, I think when I was waiting for updates, I was semi-thinking, he could get a try assist here. Like, he was the last pass. He came in on the inside and got the inside ball from Cherry Evans and then quickly passed the ball. But we're not going to complain about the scoring. I don't think it's a bad thing that he didn't get anything for it anyway. But on the other side, Dom Young, top scored with 148 with 4 tries. I had a mate message me say, Can't believe I sold Dom Young this week. And it's SuperCoach in a nutshell, isn't it? Just people getting angry about selling irrelevant players, and then these irrelevant players don't score well. But Greggy Marju backs up his 122 last week with the 102. Now, this is a serious conversation, Maxi. Greggy Marju, is he on your radar?
He's not, because I'm pretty content with my centre wings as they are. I think if I was going to bring in someone at the moment, it'd be Garrick. And I think it's a pretty big gap between him and Marzu. I also think the draw for the Knights is a bit sketchy. They've got Warriors, Penrith, and then Cowboys. So I don't know necessarily whether the score's going to be there. But if you are going to go, say if things turn out and he ends up getting a try in the next two, he could be 650K, 700K in 3 or 4 weeks, an easy stepping stone to another keeper.
He probably will be, I reckon. His base is good enough.
I'll tell you what I like about him. 39 points in hit-ups, 16 points again. 18 points in tackle bust. So that's already 57 points. And then what's he got for tackles? Tackle bust 18, 6 in forced dropouts, 2 in offloads. And yeah, like 60, and he's basing about 60 with base and tack. I think.
Yeah.
But 580,000 is a lot to pay for someone like Greg Marju.
Yeah, but telling you a little bit more than what I paid for Selwyn Cobbo. I would have gone Greg Marju over probably Selwyn Cobbo just for more of a longer term play for the base. As much as I love Cobbo, does have some low scores in him. He doesn't go looking to run the ball as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love Cobbo. I did love that draw. I could get around Marju. The one I'm real jealous about though is Lockie Miller. Oh, I let him go. Started with him and sold him to get Carraz, and it just hasn't paid off. We're looking at the maths and the other day, and it looks like Miller's outscoring him over the last sort of 4 weeks, whatever. Pretty much
40 points the first week, 30 points last week. Oh no, it was only like 10 points last week and another 30 points this week. Crazy. Like we're talking about it, Timmy. We weren't sure what Ponga being out how it would affect Lockie Miller, and I think it's done wonders for Miller because he was kind of not involved in the backline plays when Ponga was in the side, but now Ponga's out of the side. He's the only avenue they have to score regular points against. He's like 2 try assists on the weekend, and he was just doing his job. Like he was not doing anything absolutely special. Getting a few goal kicks here and there, which I'm a bit frustrated because I'm not sure what's going on there. Like, why is Hastings taking the first 2 kicks and then Miller taking the rest? I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. But
lack of confidence, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. He could have had another assist there too. I think there was one where
Bradman Best.
the Bradman Best one, which takes him over 120. But he looks so good. He looks like an out and out keeper.
He's a consistent keeper, isn't he?
So, some would say he's a consistent keeper. And look, he might be part of the consistent keepers SuperCoach side, depending on whether I can get to him. But him and Garrick would be my priorities over anyone else, really. I mean, even in that draw, Lockie Miller's one of the ones where you just know, like, he's going to get a couple of assists. If Newcastle get points, it's probably going to come through him. And his base is relatively decent. So, yeah, props to people who have him. And, he's going to be 700K, if not way more this week. So I don't know whether you can bring him in.
He's out of reach. I think he's getting out of reach. Especially if you don't have Garrick.
Can you have Miller and Marju in your side?
I'd pick one. Yeah.
Maybe if they play for Penrith, but not Newcastle.
They got nice space about them, so I think you can have both. But I see your point, guys. Ruben Garrick plays Penrith and Melbourne in the next 2 weeks. Looking good. Like, he hasn't had a score below 70 or 80. He's looking great. Looking like he was going to get a small score on the weekend, but like 50 without that try. Pretty good. Are you going to rush him in with Penrith and Melbourne in the next few weeks, or are you going to hold off?
I think I've got bigger fish to fry, so I think I'll have to wait.
Yeah. I think it's fine to hold off. What are your thoughts, Maxi?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to make a trade in the centre wing, I think he's someone you aim to bring in. I'm just with the way that Manly played against Newcastle, I'm just not sure that I'm not that high on Garrick. Maybe if we came in and we had 13 plus on Newcastle, it would be fine. But I don't know, it just wasn't a good performance. It doesn't fill you with lots of confidence on how they're going to play against those tougher
Maybe they
matchups.
needed one of those losses, though. You know what I mean? Oh, not a loss, but a draw, I guess, just to sort of give them a bit of a wake up call. And they might end up, coming out against these other sides with a little bit more patience and yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Manly also is like there's always options where we're in the opposition's 20 and it's like tackle 3 or tackle 2 and someone drops a ball, or it's like on the weekend where they went down the left side and Tommy throws a ball which is low to Garrick and that probably if it's on point would have been a try. It's really tough with someone like him, especially in an inconsistent Manly side at the moment. But I think if you need a centre wing, he'd be one of the top 3 I'm looking at, despite the draw.
I'd be rushing him in if it wasn't those next 2 matchups. So yeah. I'm not off him at all. I'd be probably ripping my side apart to do it too. But just the next 2 matchups, I feel like I can hold off.
It's definitely the matchup. There is one cheapie potentially on the horizon. Jack Johns, 42 minutes in his first game this year for 37 points. This game, I actually didn't check the minutes, sorry, but he scored 72 points. He's only available at second row forward, but he is getting good minutes in that middle, and it looks like they're like Kurt Mann wasn't in the side, so I don't know what his issue is, but he's looking like he could be a cheapie. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to score too many more tries. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it. What's he only available second row, or what's he?
He's only available at second row. Played 41 minutes on the weekend, so it's probably not enough minutes for me to be okay with buying, especially in the second row. But definitely one to just keep an eye out on, just in case he keeps that up. We do have some comments here. Did Miller get credited a missed tackle when he watched Tom Holly stroll in?
He probably didn't know he didn't touch him, so he probably wasn't.
Crazy how a missed tackle is worth less points than you get taken off points for a missed tackle, but what he did doesn't get anything taken off him.
He'll learn from that. Should
have been 2 times a missed tackle. I think he just didn't know where he is. It
looked like a PlayStation game when you haven't put the circle around the defender or whatever, and he just sort of went the wrong way.
I was hating life because Tommy was right next to Olaquatu, and if he just Olaquatu, Tommy would have gone in. Ridiculous. 5:30 game on Saturday. A bit of a poo slinger. Dragons versus Dolphins. Tyrell Sloan comes back with a 67. I love that for Tyrell Sloan. So his cash generation is going to go up again. Looking like not a terrible purchase. But Ben Hunt, 103. Jesus. He would have been a nice pod to start with scores of getting it up now, but I'm pretty sure he's scored a try in every game. He's looking like a pod 89, 24, 57. So not that great, but 103 on the weekend. Looks good. On the other side of the park, Jermaine Asako pumps out another ton. Crazy.
If it keeps on giving, isn't he? I wish I had got around him. I think he's one of the top center wingers, isn't he?
Yeah, you should have read into the preseason omens. You saw him riding around on a scooter, very happy. You got good vibes from him.
Oh, really good vibes. Yeah, he reminded me of Van Wilder just cruising around. I don't know if you've seen the movie Van Wilder, where he's in a golf buggy just cruising around campus, owning it. Yeah, he sort of was the cool guy. I liked it.
Lomax 74 plays Gold Coast and Canberra in the next 2 weeks. Then the Roosters, Bulldogs, Tigers. Maybe some of these Dragons guys, if you don't think they're a basket case, are potential buy-in options. Lomax is always in the conversation at some point every year, but this year, is he? Do they play around 13? I'll get that up while you answer the question.
They do play round 13. In terms of Lomax, I don't know. I just don't trust the the side. I mean, even with that draw, yeah, it's just one of those ones where even against Titans and Raiders, the Dragons could come in and score 10 points, and I wouldn't be surprised. He's not cheap too. I think he's about 600K. So it's a risk to have in your side, especially with all the options that we've got available. I just don't know whether you go there at this point. He's more of a wait and see if the next game from the Dragons is good, and maybe you can get on them. But they look like absolute wooden spooners the last 3 weeks prior to the Dolphins game, so I don't trust it.
Yeah, I don't trust him either. There's honestly not much else from this game to really talk about. Do you like anything?
Like Laurie, Jordan Try 2 weeks in a row, back to back. I mean, that's cool, but I wouldn't be going near him.
Until last year, him and Twal were the only ones who hadn't scored a try after like 100 games. But
I will say Twal's definitely going over with Appy distributing the ball this year for sure.
For sure. Appy's playing terribly, though.
It's a bit hard when the rest of the boys aren't really doing the job too.
Not terribly, but they got such a good side. I guess we're talking about him now. There's not much to talk about in that poo slinger, but Payne Haas, top scored. Oh, Reece Walsh gone down to 95. I like that. Jeez, he's the gift that keeps on giving. I should have got him in instead of Tedesco, but Reece Walsh, guys. Maxi, did you get him in?
Yeah, I got him in 2 weeks ago. In fact, I was going to get him in 3 weeks ago when Mikey got him in. But I ended up holding off that one. But yeah, I brought him in a couple of weeks ago. Have enjoyed. He looks fantastic. The Broncos look great. I don't think these hundreds are going to hold up for the rest of the season. I think he's going to be more of an inconsistent one, where he'll score you 120 1 week and then 40 maybe the next week. But I mean,
he looks like he wants to be involved. It's kind of like Tommy 2021, where he just wants to be part of everything, eh?
His confidence is oozing. It's oozing.
Yeah. And he's a good looker too. So, you know, we love those in our sides.
Yeah, we always have to add that in. I was hating life, honestly, like watching that game unfold. And then I saw he got the cramps and I was like, yes, take him off. Went on the wing and I was like, yes, sweet. The ball went out to him and he made a line break on the wing and nearly set up a try, but the Ezra man dropped it. And I'm just like, this guy, the ball can just find him. He can just find things out of nothing. He's Origin number one, potentially. If Kalen Ponga's not fit, I think that it's a no-brainer. Him and AJ Brinson are really good options for that Origin side. But Payne Haas, 95, I guess we did talk about him. Would you buy him, Timmy, if you don't have him?
I'm more keen on Tino. I was having a big debate with Mikey post Haas going off, and I was sort of saying, look, I really think Tino and Tarpany are the better options. I just think that they've got, I don't know, a little bit more pizzazz. I think they'll stay on the side for it's just like best. Payne Haas, as I said before, is the best prop in the game. I'm just concerned about the minutes, and I think he will drop off a bit there. And I just think the others have got more to come. So you can't really split them to the three of them. It doesn't matter which one you've really got. You know, 1 week one of them will go a bit bigger than the other one, and it'll balance out the week after. So I wouldn't be swapping one for the other.
There's two here that I want to talk about quickly before we move on. Tony Staggs, 2 tries for 51. No good. I had some questions about him the other week, and he's just not the SuperCoach option he once was, is he?
I think he could be. I don't know. Just in that side, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
He seems more keen than he was last year. I think he could be an option for people at some point. I just don't think it's a slam dunk.
Yeah. On the other side of the park, Herbie Farnworth with a 64. He's been super consistent this year, like Maxi. If he's a keeper, he's a consistent keeper. 84, 64, 52, 46. He was robbed a try assist in that 46, though. And 64. I don't know if he's someone that just quite doesn't have the ceiling, though, to make a difference. But 591,000, he's looking like the better kind of center SuperCoach option in that side.
Yeah, for sure. He's looking great. It's looking like more of a loss to the Broncos than perhaps we thought when he originally signed with the Dolphins. I think he's kind of he kind of he's more similar to Campbell Graham in terms of like what he offers. I think the base is kind of there. I just don't know whether he's in the top 6 center wings. I think if you're going to go someone in the Broncos, I think he's better than Staggs over the long term. But I still think that Herbie's a tier below your To'os, your Campbell Grahams, your Carrazas, etc.
That's it. I like it. Today's game, Sunday, Sharks versus the Warriors. What a game this was. It was a good Super Sunday. I did not want to watch this game at all because Nico Hines just...
It's mental the first half.
I was feeling good before the game. I was like, okay, he's not going to come out and score big here. There's a chance he could re-niggle his calf here. They might get him off early. You got a Nico Hines bobblehead. And then he comes out, absolutely brains it in the first half, and the head noise is massive. The Warriors came back and came into it, and Sean Johnson, Jesus, like not even Supercoach wise, but 117 for Sean. I didn't even realize he scored that much. Bloody hell. If you started with Sean Johnson, Jesus. He was a genuine option this year. Halfback with scores of 74, 60, 41, 89, and 117.
Yeah, already gone up 70K too, and probably going to go up another probably 60-ish K. So, yeah, and look, it's so good for the Warriors. Like I'm so happy for them and their fan base to see them playing so well. The young coach that's come in, looking to be playing much better. It's great to have these sides who haven't been necessarily matchups to worry about. To see them play well and. I'm happy for him. He's had a real resurgence, which is fantastic because he was dropped last year, and there was a question of whether he's even an NRL caliber halfback. So I think he's answered those questions, with a resounding yes, and very very happy for him.
For sure, Timmy. I mean, he's not an option Supercoach wise, but massive play there. But Hines on the other side of the field, 85. You own him. You didn't captain. You feeling pretty good about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that. If I just captained him, it wouldn't have been that much of a difference to not looping. And it's much of a muchness this week. I was scared though. I just had a real good vibe about Nathan. I thought his score could have been bigger than what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nico's a must-have. I'd be rushing him in for the first game back. I wouldn't care who he plays, just to get him. You could maybe wait to the Dogs game if you want to, if for some reason you're trying to build cash to get to it and you can't do it the first game he comes back in round 7. But yeah, he's obviously a must-have, and along with Nath.
The thing that's tough with Nico, 85 points after 180, that's an average of 130. So his break-even is going to be quite low, if not a negative break-even. So, like whatever he scores against the Roosters, he'll got Alpine price, and he's already so expensive. So maybe it's just worth getting him in as soon as you can. But I think my plan will be to hold off till the Bulldogs game because I think the Roosters are looking quite good. But Will Kennedy pumps out another 90. He was looking very good as well. He's, it's so crazy, Supercoach. All these types of Teddies and Latrells that you could have started with. And if you could fit one of these players in your side around all these other guns, you would have been so happy. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have been the best play for the first 5 or 6 weeks anyway. So it's crazy how Supercoach works. And someone like Will Kennedy, who the stats didn't really back up getting him in, he's just come out and had a good year. Mulatalo looks back in form with Nico Hines back in the side, 77 points. Talakai the same, 59, but Teague Wilton, 56 with a try. Timmy, if you own, is he someone you look at moving on with the buy coming up?
Yeah, I probably would. It depends who you want to go to, but if you don't have like a Fafita, he's someone I'd really want to target. I think that he's just looking really good, even with Foz gone with a bit of an injury there. I just think that he's busy enough and looking pretty killer. So I'm all about Fifi if you don't have him.
Could you potentially? I was going to say Jazz Tavanga, but he's just scored another 80 after 80 in the first round, 50 in the second. I don't think I could touch Jazz Tavanga, to be honest. But yeah, not much else in this game. Anything else, guys?
No, as a Teague owner, it's one of those things where, it's tough because with Hines back, you'd think you'd get more tries, but it's how long do you hold on to someone like him at 540-ish K when there's, as you said, when there's options like Fafita going around. So, yeah, look. But as I said from Harry,
I did want to sort of mention Katoa and Mulatalo. I think they're definitely sort of top centre wing contenders potentially, just in that side with Nico floating around doing everything he wants. I like to look at both of them as well. Maybe not as much as some of the others, like a Karaz, a Garrick, To'o. But yeah, they're amongst it, and I think they'd be a decent enough pod too.
Yeah. There's a comment on the screen here, Harry Taylor-Byrne, going Wilton to Hosking.
Yeah, there you go. Hosking's the other one. Yep.
I think that's a very good trade. The Sharks do have the Bulldogs, Cowboys, Dolphins, Manly, Newcastle, Broncos, Melbourne. They actually have the Sharks have a bye next week, and they got a bye in round 13. Oh, every side has 3 byes, eh? Yeah, I think it's 3.
I think so.
Yeah. So they got 2 byes, and then all right, moving on to the Cowboys versus the Bulldogs. Jacob Preston, top scores with a fractured finger with 111. Timmy, are you liking the look of that score?
Oh, it's a special number, isn't it? Yeah, I do like that 111. It's one of my little signs from the universe. Means the angel's looking after you, everyone. But if you're into that sort of stuff, you get a little bit spiritual with SuperCoach. Oh. He's looking red hot. His mullet's pretty on par with mine. I think it's about the same length. We've got the.
What's funny? We're talking about this. We're talking about this.
That is a mullet, Timmy.
We're talking about this, Timmy, and look at the time of the podcast right now.
111.
111. 111.
Oh.
Yeah. What does that say, Captain Preston next week, or just to keep it for the rest of the season? When you think about this conversation,
it's a bit hard to say keeper this early when there might be some better options.
Yeah,
like you could. I'd rather have Cam Murray in my side long term than him, so maybe he could be a move to him. But you just got to play it out and wait and see how it goes. At this stage, he's not going nowhere.
Yeah. He played on the left today where Kikau usually plays. So I think them numbers are a bit skewed. Obviously, the Bulldogs don't really have like a dominant side. Like both of their sides have been awesome this year, but
the left is their dominant side. The Grazal and Motti Kikau side with Burton, I think. But I got my people mixed up. But Radakar,
Yeah, so he played on the left, so I guess while he's playing on the left, soak it in, and then when he goes back to the right, he'll probably be doing the same thing anyway. Top scorer for the Cowboys, Hillam Lukey, Maxi. He got injured, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did at the very end, but we'll wait to see what happens with that one. Maybe. No, really?
Yeah, he just came back from an ACL. Yeah,
what did he do this game?
Sorry?
What would you reckon he's done it again this game?
That's the chat I'm hearing. Potential ACL.
Whoa.
Poor bugger.
Yeah, they're saying. Oh no! So they said not damage to his knee. Initial assessment suggests a hamstring injury.
Right.
So
Still bad luck.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, he looks so good, and it's like it's always a thing. I remember when. I think it was last year we had Lukey and Nanai, and I was like, they both look fantastic, so I'm both going to bring them in. And obviously, Lukey ended up being the one that kind of was the second option. But, yeah, man, if he can start and play 80, he's straight into my side.
I reckon he's better than Nanai. Like, maybe, like, SuperCoach-wise. And probably NRL-wise.
I haven't seen enough of them to really comment and pick a favourite. I think they're both good footy players. They just do different. They're very different Nanai's good under the high ball and chasing kicks, and he can still score some tries from hitting the line. But Lukey's just got that rangier sort of body. I kind of like those big dudes. He's a bit like similar to Preston's got a bit lanky, bit rangy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
But none
I
of
like
them are Homoli Olakau'atu, though.
No.
Val Tamaju, a trade I want to make. Talk me out of it. Interesting because
Val's let us down, hasn't he? He's not really nailing it for us.
He's scoring just enough for it to be acceptable, right?
Yeah.
So 59 just gone. But as a player where you started with him over 700K, he's now 667. He's lost 57K, which is ridiculous. I didn't even know he lost that much, but at that price, he's meant to be a captain option.
It's a tough one. At centre, I would never really be captaining him too much, and I just wouldn't feel confident doing it. I know he's got the kicking and stuff. Unless every other captain option had really tough matchups and he had the standout one against the Tigers or something, that's maybe the only reason I'd go it, and I'd feel way more comfortable putting a VC on him than a C. But look, the scores are underwhelming. They were so locked into this draw. They had the most best draw, the Cowboys, and it's just not really working out for them. I can't believe how much they've dropped off from last year. It's a big change. They've still got quite a few easy games, but maybe it's time to just, if there is that other guy that you want to go to, they've got a depleted Dolphins next week, which makes me kind of want to hold on to him. Then they've got the Warriors, which we thought was an easier game early in the year, but it's now a harder game. Got the Knights to follow that. Then Cronulla. So I think for me, if I don't have Garrick, if Garrick had easier runs, I'd just go straight. If next week wasn't penalties, I'd probably straight swap it.
But the thing is, he's scoring 70s. He scored 69 twice. 63, 47, 67, 69, 59. I think without that in your side, if you're seeing someone else score that, you're like, geez, I need to get that. He's scoring so well without doing anything. It's about to happen, to score. He hasn't done much, and he's just on the brink of. Once it clicks, Drinkwater is back next week or the week. I'm pretty sure Drinkwater's back next week. No, the week after. Yeah. So I think Drinkwater being back is a massive thing for Val.
Yeah. And I mean, you're completely right on that one, Savs. He hasn't done really anything, and he's still only dropped 50-ish K, and he's still averaging around the 60 mark. I think you just stick onto him. Everyone's got bigger fish to fry in their sides than to trade Val out. But I think, especially with Garrick's draw, I just think you hold on to him and hope, something turns out his way. But it's not fantastic when you spent that amount of money on him, and especially in a kind of, no one really likes to start off with too many expensive centre wings. Whisperer, how you going, mate?
Whisper your dog.
But I think he's all right. Just hold on to him.
All right, very good. We're going to move into answering some questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Cartwright to Hoskins this week. We'll start with you, Maxi.
Yeah, there's another couple of comments on here about the Cardi party's over, and I mean, these Hosking questions are ultimately going to be dependent on the way that the team list comes out. If Hoskins is starting, then that's a great trade to make, and I'd do it. But if Hoskins is benched, obviously not.
I like it. But if Sean Lane is not named to come back this week and they're playing the Tigers, it could be worth just holding just one more week, especially if you think that Dylan Brown's going to go nuts.
Especially if the Hosking thing doesn't line up for you.
Yeah. Anthony Lisciardello. PCL holding Latrell back. Had the impression will be a lingering issue without surgery. Recovery is meant to be around 6 to 8 weeks. So there is that I have heard that, the lingering PCL issue. Any of us actually considering Latrell? I think with Teddy going down, that's something I am considering, him or Mitch Moses this week. But would that hinder your decisions?
He's not yet for me, just because my two guys I've got are locked in, and they're Turbo and Walsh. But yeah, for other teams, it might be something you'd look at. I'd probably, I hate to say let's wait till it comes, but I usually like to get ahead of the game and try and bring like Hines in before and bring in Hosking before, and do all these sorts of moves before everyone does them. But yeah, with him, I'd probably wait just till it clicks and then go, all right, it's on.
We got a question from Matt Waller here. You talk cheapies, but miss Tom Eisenhuth. So let's have a look into Tom Eisenhuth. 50 points on the weekend, second row center wing, 279,000. That was his first game on the weekend. So I think we've definitely got to wait a week on him. But where is he playing? Is he playing in the middle? Is he taking time off Liero? I don't think Liero
I think he came on the right edge, but I'm not certain. My memory of seeing his sort of beardy face felt like it was lingering on the right side. But
right, we're gonna have to look into that, because there is another conversation if that's happened. The Storm, Christian Welch 46. So both edges played 80 minutes. He played 36 minutes. Looks like he may have taken time up in the middle, unless Liero went to the middle. Did Katoa go to the left by any chance?
No, I don't think so. I think he stayed in the right.
I did miss that game, so
maybe he just took a run out the right. I don't know. I wasn't really paying too much attention to him.
He wasn't early. Just quickly, he wasn't early cheapy. Like a lot of people had him in their sides when the season started. I think with Shuey, if you haven't got him, it's probably a bigger priority if you're looking for someone in the second row. But if you're looking for a centre wing cheapy, you can go worse than potentially Eisenhuth if he keeps his spot.
Daniel Crawford, Cardi to Schuster even. I think if you don't have Schuster is a very good cheapie. He hasn't obviously provided enough yet, like a 60 and a 25. It's not the greatest, but we know he's got that potential in that side. I think he's going to be a slow burn, and I don't know about you guys, but I think he's best served being shifted into the second row rather than taking up a 5'8" spot. Yeah?
For our SuperCoach side, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Marca, Eliscar, Alamotti, Warbrick, and Khan Piero. Who are you getting rid of first? I think Alamotti. I think this is a great question. Warbrick is kind of hitting his peak too, but he's still got a bit of cash flow to come. Timmy, Alamotti, he could potentially be a sell this week, potentially.
He really looked good against that game that him and Fox were really combining. He scored quite well. He still looks pretty good. I think I can't really make the call until I think it'll tell you, it'll speak to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say just yet. I get the vibe that probably Warbrick or Alamotti. Cam Pereira, he seems like that guy that you could play some weeks. You know what I mean? He's kind of got that that Saab factor from 2021. Like, he's got the low scoring, but when the Titans are scoring points, he's probably going to be going all right.
Yep. Agree. Angus Hewitt, Wilton or Eli Katoa to Moses, Maxi?
Wilton. I think Eli Katoa is probably a keeper. He's shown a lot of promise in that side already. The Storm side that hasn't really performed necessarily that well. So I think you go with Wilton. Hold on to Eli Katoa. 47 is the worst case scenario, is pretty good for someone like Eli Katoa.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah, I think Wilton's shown that that's probably where he's at, whereas Katoa showed us more that he's got a high ceiling and he's got them 47s in him, but you'd rather hold him and get them big scores. And
plenty of tries to come with him. He's looking ruthless. He's line breaking well. It was just a tough game this week.
Henry Bryan, lads, huge week for me. 1436 Cleary, Preston, Marju, and the Stars. Nice score.
14 plus is huge.
You should be in the top little echelon this week.
How good is golf?
How good is golf?
How good? How good are the Knights?
Marju was a good buy this week. I think Marju is a similar kind of mold to the Hosking buy this week. If you went early, like obviously it paid off for you. Marju, do we actually think he's a buy this week though? You guys?
I like him, but
we
really do like him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, never talk anyone out of him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a matter of the job security seems like it's probably there. I think now. So
yeah, but with AOB, you never really know. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Heim or Hunt randomly comes back in for Mars. Like, it just, I just don't trust the coach. But having said that, we always knew with I love those vertical cameras. They're looking good.
I don't know about this Greg guy. I just don't think he's going to get enough minutes. He kind of gives me Pele vibes.
I think he's talking Greg Mars.
Greg Mars.
I thought he meant Whittamoo Greg.
So what do we think?
Greg from the Eels. Sorry, my bad.
Wilting to Hoskins and Alamotti to Greg. I actually like them trades. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Changing it up.
Hard to do that. It's probably hard to do that via Jules Alamotti to Whittamoo Greg.
I saw Maxi was getting covered by the question, so I had to change it.
Thanks, mate, for getting my mug in there.
The TA and LBA for the last try.
Arguable, but yeah, maybe on updates.
Maybe.
I guess still, I played him this week. He's still someone who's like 40-ish as a base is pretty all right. All good.
Rodsy, so we'll get more price rises. Wait, what are you talking about, mate?
The week for the Bulldogs.
He was probably talking about what we were talking about at the time and just put his comment in, so it's a bit hard to reference.
No, I think he's talking about his previous comment about Alamotti. He's saying Alamotti should have got the try assist and line break assist, plus there'll be more rises to come with their draw. So if you look at their draw coming up...
They got the Rabbitohs next week.
Which isn't fantastic, but after the Rabbitohs, who have they got? That's the key. Someone like him. Anyway, we'll have a look at that. We'll get that up.
What do you want to know? Who's playing what when?
Oh, Bulldogs. I think after the Rabbitohs, they've got Para, Sharks. Well, I think if you have to wait till round 9 where they play Dragons, Raiders, and then Warriors, Titans. That's a sell. Yeah, it's a sell. It's too long to kind of hold on to him.
Jeremy Mills, Hopgood or Wilton to Hosking? I think Wilton. We're answering the same questions, aren't we?
In a way, but they're using similar, different combos. So
specific.
They are different.
We just got $2. Fuck yeah.
$2. What's that divided by 3? What's that divided by 3? I don't need a maths guy now.
66.66 cents. Thank you for this.
Yeah, that's 3 red frogs. So thank you to that Gazaraki.
I didn't know people could do that. We should come on here every night and beg for money.
Only people with blue questions get answered.
You can tell we're from Penrith. Maxi's not. He's from bloody eastern suburbs, so he knows better than that. And he's over in London now, just splashing out.
Yeah, buddy. Someone would donate.
What are you wearing? A bloody Gucci jacket or something right now?
No. I need those $2 to pay for the rent over here. So Gazaraki, keep them coming in.
Oh Jesus, this is dangerous. I like this. Yeah. $2 and it's a blue comment. That's very nice. Oh geez, I don't know if you can top that. So what's his comment anyway? Yes, it was Greg Marju, Timmy. Yes, not Greg Marju.
Not winning Greg.
Just to reiterate, you don't need to donate for us to put your comment up. We try to get to them all anyway.
We get excited, obviously, don't we?
It was exciting. I've never had that before, and I didn't know it was a feature. So, pretty cool. What are we going to do with the $2?
Oh, we're not going to split it with the other boys. It's going between us 3.
Let's put on a nice little multi on the weekend.
Need to reassess Tuesday. Many good buys on the horizon. Yeah. I think you just need to take a breather. That's why I like to have Monday off. Let the team list drop. Don't stress too much tomorrow and just go into it organically on Tuesday with the team list.
Yeah, that's it. Trey Wheelhouse, Wilton to Fafita. I like them trades. I think what we've pretty much got from this, Wilton is a sell. And we're all for selling Wilton, especially with the bye coming up, Roosters afterwards. I don't think you're holding someone who doesn't have a massive ceiling. And if you don't have Fafita, he's someone who can hurt you in that position.
Yeah.
Jeremy Mills, thoughts on selling Nick Meaney for Latrell, maybe?
Yeah, well,
The
as we
Storms
said,
ain't easy.
you can jump on it early.
No, they've got the Bulldogs this week, and then they've got a pretty easy draw next week, but then the week after it gets hard again for the Rabbitohs.
The Bunnies have got a real weird draw. They never seem. I've looked at it. They never go on a run of easy games.
Yeah.
It seems like they've had hard games, and then they'll go easy, hard, easy, hard, easy.
And it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks because it's like
He gave us another $2. We got $4 now. Why don't we make it divisible by 3?
Forget about it, brother.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. But no more donations this episode for anyone, please. It's getting overwhelming.
Yeah, we're getting too much money. Oh, okay. So they've got Bulldogs, Dolphins, Penrith, Broncos, Melbourne, and then they got Tigers, Parramatta, Canberra, Gold Coast, St. George. So I think pretty much after round 10, that's when their good draw starts. So.
And then it starts to become origin time for Latrell. So you just either want to get him, I guess, now. If you like him, you probably get him. I was saying you could wait before to see him start hitting his straps, but if you've got a good feeling about it, just have a go.
As we saw last year, the draw doesn't matter for
Latrell in a lot of games.
He's got a good run of games now. Maybe this is what he needs to gain his confidence, and then leading into them tougher matchups. Like 67 against Melbourne. I know Melbourne haven't been doing great, but they were better, and they were up for the Rabbitohs game, and he still scored 67. Like, that's just crazy. Back to the blue comment here, Gazaraki, bloody hell, here's another 60 cents, lads, killed me. I love you, Gazaraki. Thank you. Thank you for donating. You can, I was going to say, just put your bank details back in and we'll transfer it straight back to you. Because actually, I don't even know if I don't know how we can cash this out. Because I don't even know how to do it.
I'll find a way.
Put it towards some golfing lessons for
or a set of teeth. I'm getting my teeth done too. Everyone has to get used to it. It's going to happen at the back end of the year. So get around it.
Well done.
Oh, well, we'll let the donations build up at the end of the year for Timmy's Teeth Fund.
My head-to-heads are going to pay for that.
Oh, you've got a nice little juicy head-to-head at the moment. Trey Wheelhouse, Hammer to Marju, or is there another center wing to get me to Garrick before round 13? So this is a pretty good one, like stepping stones to Garrick. Obviously, Garrick has the tough draw in 2 weeks. Who are we looking at? So I guess we can look at who scored big this week. Dom Young, potentially. Like, he could be a very fast cash grab in the coming weeks. With and if you want a stepping stone to Garrick, I think Marge is more of a guy you want to hold for as long as he's doing well. Whereas Dom Young, Warriors, then Penrith, maybe it's not that much of a cash grab then. What do you think?
Maybe try and make the money for Garrick potentially, I don't know, elsewhere. Sometimes you can, or through a downgrade. Like, I've got Welsh there, and I'm kind of, I'm thinking maybe I don't really want to run just 2 props.
Yeah.
But I could go Utakamano and Tino for a bit, you know what I mean? And downgrade Welch to like a Fasil Malawi, and that makes my money for Garrick. So sometimes I can get around that, but it does sort of get you a bit stuck with too many non-players or players you don't want to play. So, yeah, it's a hard one. Hammer's quite expensive. Oh, you want to sell Hammer to Marge? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marge used to go up, but it's how much difference in price are they? About like less than 200K?
What's Hammer at the moment?
No, I'm doing Marju and Garrick at the moment. So I think Marju's like 590 and Garrick's like 670.
740, I think.
So Garrick's going to be like, Garrick's going to be the same price, 776. So he's nearly 800. Nearly 8. So it's 200K difference. I'd go. It's so tough. Like,
or if you don't have a Schuster, you could down. I don't know what Trey's got going on there on his side, but maybe if he doesn't have a Schuster, he could downgrade like a guy like we're talking Teague or someone like that. Or if you're not keen, I like Hopgood, but there's a lot of camp that are big on selling Hopgood that I'm seeing on the socials. So depends where you lie with that. I mean, it could slow down for him. It could have been just absolutely. He's a gun player, obviously, but if he's not getting the minutes, then maybe you do cash him in. But especially with the Origin thing, when you're trying to factor in, is he going to be a number for 13? Probably won't be. So, it's time to sell Hammer though, but just I guess Marju I'd probably want to keep it. As you said.
Gazaraki, his first comment since he donated first without donating.
Oh, mate, get it off the screen. This guy's not paying no more. Yeah. No, we love you, Gazaraki.
I think Garrick isn't a buy till round 8 now. I can actually agree. I think forking out that much money for someone with a tough draw, I think he can still score tries in the meantime. But
of course he will with Tommy and that. Like,
but
maybe just not those massive tons.
Yes.
Eight and nine is good. That's Tigers and Titans. Yeah, that's prime Tommy Turbo Garrick time.
Where you want him. Jeremy Mills, what do you think Wade Egan, if him and Sonny are your hookers?
How does he keep scoring? Hey, Wade Egan. I think you want to go to Harry Grant, my bro. Definitely go to Harry Grant as soon as you can. Yeah.
Damien
and Sonny, I'd just hold on to Sonny as a slow burn. He'll end up making you some money.
Yep,
especially with Brendan Hands only playing 30-ish minutes.
Yeah,
he was looking like one you could bring him, but not anymore.
Any centre wings to buy cheap for the first round, buy, sell Alamotti and upgrade elsewhere. I think centre wing cheapies are a bit tough at the moment. I think the one
Bostock might, if he's around, is he going to keep his spot? Or?
Yeah, that's the one.
How long's the little fella out for?
Out for 5 weeks, I think. So,
But does he play the full first bit? Does he play that first buy though?
Bostock
13, yeah. Well, he probably won't. He might be back by then. They'd play St George in round 13, so it's a bit of a gamble. But he might have made his money by then for you if you wanted to go with him, and you could move him to someone else that does play the buy potentially if he does get dropped in that time.
Do you potentially aim for someone who's next in line who hasn't played yet, and then, hope they end up making money?
I did that last year with someone, and it kind of paid off, I think, but I can't remember who it was.
Okay, so we've got the Dolphins, the Dragons, Parramatta, the Cowboys, Warriors, Broncos, Rabbitohs, Raiders, Knights, and Manly. Who could it be potentially? So the Cowboys won't be missing much in their outside backs. Neither will the Warriors. The Broncos potentially, but I think their options are someone like Dean Mariner and people who have already played. So they've got quite good depth there. The Rabbitohs, they won't be missing much. The Raiders, they won't be missing much. I think Manly is maybe the only one. Maybe KO Weeks.
He's not centre wing.
Seems a bit trappy though, I think.
And he's going to be an AE nightmare until
and
he's only 5'8".
Yeah. I think that's a question for a few weeks away, unless you need to make that happen now. Because
that's
you need
it. All right, we're going to take our $4 and run. We're going to run, hit the casinos. That's it. All right. Cheers, guys, for tuning in. A bit of a late one. I think we're a bit flat at the moment. It's been a long weekend of footy.
I'm normally in bed by 9:30, so yeah.
So I got to get up at 4:30 tomorrow. So big one in the morning. Maxie,
we'll try to have some bells and whistles in the studio.
That's it. Maxie, you're in London. How's life over there?
Yeah, it's good. I'm just going to go ahead to play some. As you're not supposed to call it here, soccer. Yeah, at 4 p.m. I'm not calling it footy because we're on an actual footy podcast here. But going to go play some soccer this afternoon. So, very keen.
Very nice.
Good luck out there, Maxie.
All right. Mate. Oh, we got another comment. Sorry for being annoying. We've got to answer a question. He donated twice. Sorry for being annoying, lads. Last question. Early captain thoughts for next week. I'm thinking VC Walsh, captain Dealbag. We're going to have a quick look at it.
Okay, let's see what the rounds are. Okay.
I think some of these last sections I might just cut out of the audio version of the podcast.
If you have Latrell, you could, which not many people would. He's a good one for a VC. Oh, yeah, and then I'd probably be looking later in the round to, like, you're right, Walsh against the Raiders, if you can make that happen through. It's sometimes it can be hard to make such a late VC work, but if you've got the non-player that you can swap on for a player that you were going to play, then you could probably make that happen.
I think Cleary's still a good one.
Yeah.
For feeder?
Not for feeder. I don't know, it's pretty consistent, but yeah, I mean, Cleary's one for sure. Could VC Cleary, Captain Walsh. Could VC Cleary or Walsh and captain.
It's an awkward week for captains next week, huh?
It really is.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know who I would chuck my captain on at all, just like standing out confidently. Walsh, he looks good, but oh man, it's just a risky thing to do. It's more of a VC. I'm a bit nervous about it. I'm going to try not to think about it till Tuesday at least.
Fafita is the
sorry we don't have any good answers for you there.
Fafita at Seabus running at Jaden Sewer.
Oh, yeah, the Titans. Just captaining someone from the Titans is just.
I think it's a really awkward week next week, which I think means there's a good chance for a moving week next week.
Yeah. I think that's why, like, for me,
in the ranks,
it's going to be Latrell or Moses for me.
Yeah, if you're bringing in Latrell, that's a good one, bro. Are you doing that? You think so?
I'll just see how it go. I'll have tomorrow off because it was a stressful weekend not owning the Walsh, the Hines.
No workers. It's been a good long potty. Let's get out of here. Trust your gut and always back yourself, fellas. We're out.
Wise words from the man himself. All right.
I should stop. Yeah. See you later.